Whiskers, a fluffy Persian with a chef's heart, surveyed the kitchen. Thanksgiving was his day. He loved helping with dinner. His family? Not so much. Whiskers had a talent for trouble. He could turn a simple recipe into a culinary disaster, but oh, those big blue eyes, how could anyone stay mad? His family knew what was coming. They braced themselves for a Thanksgiving they'd never forget. It wouldn't be boring, that's for sure. The day dawned bright and early. The kitchen buzzed with activity. A symphony of smells filled the air. Sage and butter, onions and celery, and a hint of mischief, courtesy of Chef Whiskers. Grandma hummed as she chopped pecans. Dad wrestled with the turkey. Mom stirred a pot, her brow furrowed in concentration. Whiskers saw his opportunity. Time to help! He crept towards the counter, his tail swishing with anticipation. This Thanksgiving was going to be legendary. The turkey glistened, golden brown and ready for the oven. Dad, proud of his handiwork, turned to grab a roasting pan. Big mistake. Whiskers saw his chance. He launched himself at the turkey. He clawed his way onto the bird, determined to help it into the oven. The turkey teetered precariously on the edge of the counter. Dad let out a yelp. Chaos erupted. The turkey wobbled. Dad lunged. Mom shrieked. Whiskers held on tight, a mischievous glint in his eyes. This was fun. The cranberry sauce simmered on the stove, a vibrant red beacon in the chaotic kitchen. Whiskers, ever the helpful chef, decided it needed a taste test. Or 10. He dipped his tail into the bubbling pot. A hiss, a flick of fur. And suddenly, the kitchen was decorated with cranberry splatters. The walls, the ceiling, even Grandma's apron weren't safe. Mom surveyed the scene, her hands on her hips. "Whiskers!" she exclaimed, her voice a mixture of amusement and exasperation. "You little rascal!" Section 5. The Great Pumpkin Pie Plot, a pastry predicament. In the heart of the bustling kitchen, our mischievous chef, Whiskers, was up to his usual antics. The kitchen was alive with the sounds of clattering pots and pans, and the air was thick with the scent of freshly baked goods. The aroma of pumpkin spice filled the air, a siren call for our mischievous chef. Whiskers' nose twitched as he caught the scent, his eyes widening with excitement. The kitchen was his playground, and today, the pumpkin pie was his prize. He couldn't resist the allure of the freshly baked pumpkin pie cooling on the windowsill. The pie, with its perfectly golden crust and rich, spicy aroma, was too tempting for any cat to ignore. Whiskers' eyes were fixed on the pie, his mind racing with thoughts of how to get his paws on it. He eyed the pie, its golden crust shimmering invitingly. The sunlight streaming through the window made the pie look even more irresistible. Whiskers could almost taste the sweet, creamy filling as he imagined sinking his teeth into it. He took a tentative step, then another, and then he pounced. With a burst of energy, Whiskers leaped towards the pie, his paws outstretched and his eyes locked on his target. The world seemed to slow down as he soared through the air, his heart pounding with anticipation. He landed squarely in the center of the pie, his face a mask of pumpkin-y delight. The family gasped. The once perfect pie was now a squashed mess, with Whiskers sitting triumphantly in the middle, his fur covered in pumpkin filling. Grandma's hand flew to her chest. She had spent hours perfecting that pie, and now it was ruined. The rest of the family stood in stunned silence, unsure whether to laugh or cry at the sight of Whiskers' pumpkin-covered face. The pie, once a masterpiece, was now a cratered, paw-printed disaster. Bits of crust and filling were scattered across the table, and Whiskers' paw prints were clearly visible in the mess. The kitchen, which had been filled with the delicious aroma of pumpkin pie, now smelled of chaos and mischief. Whiskers, oblivious to the chaos, purred contentedly, licking pumpkin filling from his whiskers. He had no regrets. To him the pie was a delicious success, and the family's reactions were just an added bonus. As he licked his whiskers clean, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in his latest culinary adventure. Section 6. Gravy Boat Galore. A river runs through the kitchen. In this chapter, we explore the unexpected adventures that can happen in the heart of the home, the kitchen. The gravy, rich and savory, bubbled in its boat on the countertop. The aroma filled the room, a tantalizing promise of the feast to come. The thick velvety liquid simmered gently, sending up wisps of steam that danced in the air. Whiskers, the family cat, was drawn by the intoxicating aroma. His nose twitched as he sniffed the air, his curiosity piqued. He decided to investigate further, perhaps hoping for a taste of the delicious concoction. With a mischievous glint in his eye, Whiskers swatted at the gravy boat with his paw. The boat wobbled precariously before tipping over. It was a moment of pure feline mischief, a playful act that would soon lead to chaos. The gravy sloshed over the sides, creating a river of brown across the kitchen floor. The thick liquid spread quickly, covering the tiles in a glossy sheen. It was as if a dam had burst, releasing a flood of savory goodness. The river flowed relentlessly, heading straight for the dining room where the family was setting the table. The gravy moved with surprising speed, a determined stream on a mission. It flowed under the door, making its way toward the unsuspecting diners. "Incoming!" Dad shouted, just as the gravy river reached the dining room. His voice was a mix of surprise and urgency, a warning to the rest of the family. They turned to see the brown tide approaching, their eyes widening in shock. Chaos ensued as everyone scrambled to escape the gravy tsunami. Chairs were pushed back, feet were lifted, and voices rose in a cacophony of surprise and laughter. The once orderly dining room was now a scene of delightful pandemonium, a testament to the unpredictable nature of family life. Section 7. Family Matters. Laughter, chaos, and a hint of cat hair. The kitchen was a disaster zone. Turkey feathers littered the floor. Cranberry sauce adorned the walls, pumpkin pie oozed across the windowsill, and a river of gravy meandered through it all. But amidst the chaos, there was laughter. Lots and lots of laughter. The family, covered in the remnants of Chef Whiskers' culinary help, couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. "This is going to be a Thanksgiving story for the ages," Dad chuckled, wiping gravy from his eyebrows. Section 8. Dinner is served, sort of a Thanksgiving feast for the books. Dinner that year was a sight to behold. It was a scene straight out of a comedy movie where everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but in the most endearing way possible. The turkey, slightly worse for wear but still edible, took center stage. It was overcooked to the point of being almost unrecognizable, but it was the effort that counted. Everyone had a good laugh as they carved into the bird, which had a texture more akin to jerky than the tender meat they had hoped for. The cranberry sauce, carefully scraped from various surfaces, was served in a mismatched assortment of bowls. It had been an adventure in itself, with the sauce splattering all over the kitchen during preparation. Despite its journey, it was still delicious, and the mismatched bowls added a quirky charm to the table. The pumpkin pie, rescued from the windowsill, was more of a pumpkin puddle, but it tasted just as good. The pie had an unfortunate encounter with a curious cat, which led to its less than perfect appearance. However, the flavor was spot on, and everyone enjoyed it immensely, laughing at the story behind its creation. And the gravy? Well, there was plenty of it thanks to Chef Whiskers' contribution. The cat had knocked over the gravy boat, leading to an impromptu gravy flood. But in the spirit of Thanksgiving, they salvaged what they could and made the best of it. The gravy, though a bit thinner than usual, was still a hit. It wasn't a picture-perfect Thanksgiving, but it was perfect in its own chaotic, hilarious way. The family embraced the imperfections, finding joy and humor in the mishaps. They laughed together, shared stories, and created memories that would be talked about for years to come. In the end, it wasn't the food that made the meal special, but the love and laughter that filled the room. This Thanksgiving feast, with all its flaws, was truly one for the books. Section 9. Chef Whiskers' Legacy, a Thanksgiving to remember. As the family cleared away the remnants of the feast, Chef Whiskers surveyed his handiwork with a satisfied purr. He may not have helped in the traditional sense, but he had certainly made Thanksgiving memorable. And as they settled in for the evening, surrounded by laughter and the warmth of family, they knew one thing for sure: they wouldn't trade their furry little chef for anything, even if he did have a knack for turning Thanksgiving dinner into a culinary adventure.